Who exactly is Blackbeard, the enigmatic pirate whose rise defies every expectation in the vast world of One Piece? What drives a man so ruthless and cunning to climb the ranks? Not through charm or heroism, but by weaving a web of manipulation and cold calculation? In this exploration, we will peel back the layers of Blackbeard's mind, a man whose ambitions know bounds, and whose willingness to bend the rules challenges everything we think about power and survival. Prepare to see this figure not just as a villain, but as a master strategist whose psychological makeup turns betrayal into an art form. This story will change how you perceive ambition, loyalty, and the lengths one will go to achieve ultimate dominance. In the sprawling universe of One Piece, where countless pirates chase freedom and treasure, Blackbeard stands apart as one of the most intriguing and complex figures. His real name, Marshall D. Teach, might seem ordinary, but his actions reveal a mind sharpened by survival instincts and a relentless thirst for power. Unlike many of his contemporaries who rely on strength or reputation, Blackbeard's rise is a masterclass in patience, manipulation, and calculated risk-taking. To understand him, we must first look at the environment that shaped him. Blackbeard's origins are shrouded in mystery. The one is clear is that he emerged from a world where trust is a rare commodity, and every alliance is shadowed by the threat of betrayal. This harsh reality demanded more than just bravery. It required an acute ability to read people, anticipate moves, and act when others least expect it. In psychological terms, Blackbeard embodies traits linked to what experts call Machiavellianism, a personality style characterized by strategic manipulation, emotional detachment, and an unyielding focus on personal gain. Blackbeard's use of others as pawns in his grand plan reveals a deep understanding of human nature. Unlike impulsive characters driven by emotion, he is methodical, weighing every choice with a cold, analytical eye. His ambition is not a simple desire for wealth or fame, but an obsession with power itself, power that can bend the world to his will. This aligns with psychological profiles that show a high tolerance for risk, combined with the ability to suppress fear and hesitation, qualities essential for someone playing the long game in a dangerous world. Another key aspect of Blackbeard's psychology is his rejection of traditional codes of honor or loyalty. Where many pirates follow strict rules or personal codes, he views such constraints as weaknesses. For him, survival and ascendancy justify any action, no matter how morally questionable it might appear. This detachment from conventional ethics creates a figure both fascinating and unsettling, a man who sees the world as a chessboard and himself as the player who will control the final move. From a developmental perspective, it's plausible to theorize that Blackbeard's formative years lacked stability and safety, contributing to the cold, calculating persona he exhibits. Psychological studies suggest that individuals raised in highly competitive or unstable environments often develop advanced coping strategies, including heightened vigilance, strategic thinking, and emotional self-regulation to navigate uncertainty. Blackbeard's mastery of deception and patience could very well stem from such early adaptive mechanisms. Yet, there was something beneath the surface that few noticed. Behind that calm exterior and disarming smile lurked a latent force, a part of his psyche waiting for the right moment to awaken. This hidden dimension of his character would later trigger pivotal changes, not only in his own destiny, but in the entire balance of power within the pirate world. This shift was not just about external conquests, but about a profound internal evolution that sharpened his strategic mind and deepened his willingness to break boundaries. As we delve deeper, we will see how Blackbeard's origin story is not simply a tale of ambition, but a study of psychological resilience and calculated transformation. His journey challenges us to rethink what it means to be powerful, not through brute force alone, but through intelligence, patience, and the willingness to embrace complexity and moral ambiguity. Every great transformation begins with a moment of rupture, a catalyst that shakes the foundations of a person's worldview and forces them onto a new path. For Blackbeard, this moment was not a sudden burst of anger or desperation, but a carefully observed opportunity born out of chaos and upheaval. The world of pirates is unforgiving, and the slightest hesitation can cost everything. Yet, Blackbeard's response to the unfolding events reveals a mind uniquely prepared to turn disruption into advantage. This rupture can be understood as a shift from a reactive survival mindset into an active, dominant one. Before this turning point, Blackbeard operated in the shadows, biding his time and assessing the players around him. He was patient, calculating, and seemingly modest in his reach. However, when the chance appeared, a gap in power, a moment of vulnerability among his rivals, he made a decisive move that would change everything. Psychologically, this mirrors the concept of a critical incident that triggers identity transformation, where previous beliefs and strategies no longer suffice, and a new, more adaptive approach must take hold. Internally, this moment of change sparked conflict. Ambition alone was not enough. Blackbeard had to reconcile the risks of bold action with the need for precise timing. Such tension is common in high-stakes environments and is often described in psychology as cognitive dissonance, the uneasy feeling when one's desires clash with the practical limitations of reality. Blackbeard's genius lies in his ability to manage this tension without losing focus, a skill linked to advanced emotional regulation and executive functioning. He does not allow fear or doubt to paralyze him. Instead, he channels these feelings into strategic planning. Externally, this rupture manifested in Blackbeard's break from traditional alliances and codes that others in the pirate world might have respected. He began to reshape his image and his methods, embracing a more aggressive and unapologetic persona. This was not mere rebellion, but a calculated evolution. It signaled to others that he was no longer a background player, but a formidable force willing to challenge established powers. Psychologically, this can be seen as a form of social dominance orientation, where the drive to rise above others motivates individuals to assert control and influence, often disregarding conventional norms. From a scientific perspective, such profound changes in behavior can be linked to neuropsychological factors as well. The way the brain adapts to new stressors and opportunities by rewiring pathways associated with decision-making and risk assessment. Blackbeard's transformation suggests a high level of neuroplasticity, allowing him to adjust not only his actions, but also his underlying thought processes in response to shifting circumstances. This flexibility is a hallmark of successful leaders and strategists in unpredictable environments. Yet, this transition was not without its costs. By stepping beyond the boundaries of accepted conduct, Blackbeard invited suspicion, fear, and opposition. His enemies began to see him as a threat not just because of his growing power, but because of the unpredictability and ruthlessness he displayed. This external pressure further hardened his resolve, reinforcing a cycle where each challenge became a test of his will and ingenuity. And it was here, at this crossroads, that everything started to unravel for his adversaries, but also that Blackbeard's own journey took a darker, more complex turn. The calculated moves he made during this phase were not random acts of defiance, but the deliberate construction of a new identity, one that blends charm, menace, and relentless ambition into a persona almost impossible to anticipate or control. The moment of rupture was not just an event. It was the ignition of a deeper psychological transformation, setting Blackbeard on a trajectory where the line between survival and domination blurred. From this point forward, the pirate world would never be the same, and neither would the man himself. As Blackbeard's journey progressed, his mind began to take on a new shape, one molded not by impulse, but by a carefully constructed philosophy of power and survival. This was not merely the evolution of a pirate. It was the birth of a mastermind whose understanding of human nature and strategy ran deep beneath the surface. Blackbeard's behavior increasingly reflected a psyche that embraced complexity and contradiction. On the surface, he projected a charismatic, even affable demeanor, disarming those around him with smiles and casual confidence. But beneath this facade lay a mind constantly calculating, analyzing weaknesses, and manipulating opportunities. Psychologically, this is characteristic of a dual persona, where an individual manages to wear different masks for different purposes, adapting fluidly to social situations while maintaining control over their true intentions. Throughout this stage, we observe key actions and statements that reveal Blackbeard's inner framework. For instance, his willingness to betray even his closest allies is not an act of chaos, but a calculated move in a larger game. It shows a detachment from emotional bonds in favor of long-term goals. This aligns with research on individuals exhibiting high strategic thinking combined with low emotional attachment, people who view relationships through the lens of utility rather than sentiment. His evolution can also be likened to a chess grandmaster anticipating several moves ahead, considering not only immediate gains, but the ripple effects of each decision. In neuropsychological terms, this level of forward planning engages the prefrontal cortex extensively, the brain region responsible for complex decision-making, impulse control, and predicting outcomes. Blackbeard's repeated success in seizing rare opportunities suggests an exceptional development of these cognitive faculties. Furthermore, Blackbeard's philosophy appears to embrace a kind of moral relativism, where conventional notions of right and wrong become irrelevant. Instead, he operates under a personal code that justifies actions based on results rather than ethics. This is not simply a rejection of morality, but a pragmatic redefinition. The ends truly justify the means in his world. This rationalization is a key psychological mechanism, allowing him to navigate the harsh realities of pirate life without hesitation or remorse. The impact of this mental evolution is clear in his growing influence and the fear he inspires. Allies and enemies alike sense the depth of his calculation and the inevitability of his plans. He becomes less a chaotic threat and more a systematic force, a dark engine powering change through relentless strategy. Yet, this structured darkness hides a volatile core. Despite his control and patience, there is an undercurrent of unpredictability that keeps others off balance. Blackbeard's ability to blend calculated moves with unexpected twists makes him a dangerous opponent. It is this very combination of order and chaos within his psyche that makes him one of the most formidable figures in the pirate world. But even as his power consolidates, there remains a shadow within, a part of him that is yet to fully reveal itself. The ultimate shape of his mind, the true extent of his ambitions and fears, is still unfolding. The calculated strategist is only one side of the coin. Beneath lies a deeper mystery, waiting to awaken. And so, while Blackbeard's external world seems to be dominated by control and planning, the inner landscape suggests tensions and complexities that promise further transformation. The story is far from over, and the true nature of his darkness is yet to be fully understood. Every pivotal journey has a moment when the line between past restraint and future recklessness blurs, a point of no return where the individual steps fully into a new reality. For Blackbeard, this crossing was not a sudden act of impulsiveness, but a deliberate choice that forever altered how he saw the world and his place in it. At this stage, his transformation became not just visible, but undeniable. Blackbeard's decision to seize powers and betray former comrades signaled a break with the familiar codes that once governed pirate conduct. He cast aside conventional loyalties and moral boundaries, replacing them with a ruthless, pragmatic philosophy. Psychologically, this represents a fundamental shift in worldview, from seeing himself as one among many to envisioning himself as a singular force destined to reshape the order of things. Such a transformation is often accompanied by what psychologists call moral disengagement, the process by which individuals justify actions that would normally cause internal conflict or guilt by reframing them as necessary or even virtuous. This shift is not without internal struggle. Though Blackbeard projects unwavering confidence, beneath the surface lies a complex negotiation between ambition, risk, and the weight of his choices. The very act of crossing this boundary demands a cognitive realignment, accepting that past identities and values no longer serve and embracing a new, sometimes darker self. This mental pivot requires extraordinary psychological resilience and self-assurance, traits Blackbeard appears to possess in abundance. At this juncture, Blackbeard's rationalizations become crucial. He reframes his actions not as betrayals or selfish power grabs, but as essential steps in a greater plan, a vision where only the strongest survive and the weak are left behind. This echoes real-world leadership theories in competitive environments where ethical lines become blurred in pursuit of strategic goals. The question arises, if power demands sacrifice, who can judge the one who dares to claim it? This dilemma forces observers to confront uncomfortable truths about ambition and morality. Moreover, Blackbeard's transformation invites us to consider the relativity of right and wrong in extreme circumstances. This perspective challenges traditional ethics, asking whether the established order is itself just or merely convenient for those in control. By pushing beyond accepted limits, Blackbeard exposes the fragility of moral certainty, highlighting the tension between societal norms and individual will. This stage also marks the beginning of irreversible consequences. His choices ripple outward, disrupting alliances, unsettling power balances, and provoking fear and resistance. Blackbeard becomes a symbol of unpredictability, a force that destabilizes the world not through chaos alone, but through calculated upheaval. The growing opposition he faces only fuels his determination, reinforcing a cycle where defiance and control feed each other. But perhaps the most provocative question remains. What if Blackbeard is right? What if his vision of the world as a battleground for dominance reflects a harsher reality than most are willing to admit? This possibility unsettles the audience, blurring the line between villainy and survival instinct. It invites a reflection on the nature of power, ambition, and the cost of achieving greatness. In stepping past the point of no return, Blackbeard transforms from a player in the game to the architect of a new order. The man who once lurked in the shadows now stands fully in the light, a figure both feared and respected, whose path challenges our understanding of morality and ambition. To truly grasp the nature of Blackbeard's actions, it is essential to move beyond surface judgments and delve into the psychological and scientific frameworks that explain his behavior. His seemingly ruthless choices and unyielding pursuit of power are not the result of reckless impulses or simple malice. Instead, they reflect a deeply calculated logic rooted in human psychology and strategic thinking. One key concept that sheds light on Blackbeard's mindset is the psychological trait known as Machiavellianism. This personality dimension, studied extensively in social psychology, describes individuals who are highly manipulative, strategic, and often emotionally detached. Such individuals prioritize their own goals above interpersonal bonds, skillfully navigating social situations to their advantage. Blackbeard's interactions reveal this trait vividly. His ability to manipulate allies, exploit rival weaknesses, and maintain emotional control, even in high-pressure situations, demonstrates a mastery of this psychological style. Moreover, neuroscience offers insights into how such complex strategic thinking develops. Research indicates that individuals with enhanced executive function, involving the brain's prefrontal cortex, excel in planning, impulse control, and decision-making under uncertainty. Blackbeard's calm demeanor in crises, coupled with his willingness to take calculated risks, suggests a highly developed cognitive flexibility. This mental agility allows him to adapt quickly, anticipate opponents' moves, and manipulate the flow of events without succumbing to panic or impulsivity. Blackbeard's behavior also aligns with the psychological theory of social dominance orientation, SDO, which reflects an individual's preference for hierarchy and dominance in social groups. High SDO individuals seek to maintain or increase their group status, often endorsing power imbalances to achieve their aims. Blackbeard's drive to rise above all others and reshape the pirate world in his image is a clear manifestation of this orientation. Historically and in literature, figures similar to Blackbeard illustrate how ambition, strategy, and moral flexibility intertwine. Comparisons can be drawn with Machiavellian leaders and cunning tacticians who reshape political landscapes not through brute force alone, but by mastering deception and alliance building. Blackbeard fits this archetype perfectly, embodying the calculated mindset required to survive and thrive in a cutthroat environment. Importantly, Blackbeard's actions are not random or chaotic, but follow a clear internal logic. His choices, whether betraying allies, acquiring powerful abilities, or manipulating others, are strategic moves designed to maximize his influence and secure his position. This challenges the common perception of him as merely unpredictable or ruthless, revealing instead a methodical architect behind the scenes. From a psychological standpoint, Blackbeard's behavior reflects the complex interplay between ambition, control, and adaptation. He balances the need to dominate with the necessity of patience and subtlety, demonstrating how calculated risk-taking is often more effective than sheer force. His success validates the idea that power often comes not from raw strength, but from the ability to understand and manipulate social dynamics with precision. Yet, this scientific understanding does not strip away the darker implications of his path. Rather, it illuminates how a highly intelligent and emotionally detached individual can operate within a moral gray zone, where the pursuit of power is a game of cold calculation rather than passion or chaos. The revelation is unsettling. Blackbeard's actions are not madness, but the result of clear-headed strategy, a fact that makes him all the more formidable. As we move forward, this insight will help us frame Blackbeard not simply as a villain, but as a complex strategist whose calculated ambition shapes the very world he inhabits, a man whose legacy is defined not by chaos, but by the cold logic of power. When examining the aftermath of Blackbeard's rise, it becomes clear that his influence extends far beyond mere personal gain. His actions have reshaped the pirate world, altering power dynamics, inspiring fear, and sparking new conflicts that ripple throughout the seas. This legacy is not one of simple destruction, but of profound transformation, one that challenges the very foundations of order and ambition. Blackbeard's story is a testament to how one individual's calculated drive can disrupt entire systems. His willingness to exploit weaknesses, bend moral codes, and strategically maneuver through alliances has created a new paradigm where power is no longer just inherited or won by strength alone, but crafted through manipulation and cold resolve. In this sense, he embodies a form of evolution within the pirate world, survival of the smartest, not just the strongest. Psychologically, Blackbeard's legacy invites us to reflect on how ambition and power can leave lasting marks on societies and individuals alike. His path demonstrates the complex consequences of ruthless determination, where the thirst for control can both elevate and isolate. The fear and respect he commands serve as reminders that in extreme environments, calculated strategy often outweighs brute force, rewriting the rules of engagement. But beyond the external shifts, Blackbeard's rise provokes deeper philosophical questions. Who are we to judge a figure who operates outside conventional morality, yet succeeds precisely because he understands the harsh realities others refuse to face? His story blurs the lines between heroism and villainy, order and chaos, forcing us to reconsider the nature of power and the price it demands. In the end, Blackbeard's legacy is a complex tapestry woven from ambition, strategy, and moral ambiguity. He is a symbol of what happens when the rules of society are bent or broken in pursuit of greatness. A figure who forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about survival, loyalty, and the human psyche. Yet, the story does not conclude here. Blackbeard's presence in the world leaves open a lingering question. Is he the last of his kind, or merely the beginning of a new era where calculated ambition reshapes everything in its path? This mystery invites ongoing reflection and debate, reminding us that the forces he unleashed may continue to influence the pirate world in ways yet unseen. As we close this exploration, we are left with a profound sense of unease and fascination. Blackbeard's legacy is not a simple tale of triumph or defeat, but a mirror reflecting the complexities of power itself. An enduring myth that challenges and inspires all who dare to seek its secrets.